What is up? Welcome back to another live stream repair. We are going to kick things off with a board only repair. Normally I save these for the last repair of a stream, but poor Chris here, I've been forgetting to fix theirs up at the end of the past few streams. It's in such a small little box. I keep I don't notice it by the time we work through the queue. But we're gonna get them all fixed up here. Let's shoot them a link so they can watch. And they had a no power HomePod. They took it apart, removed the diode. They lost a capacitor and one of the pads. Next to the diode. We don't need this. Let's get up close. Here we have it, and certainly missing one of our pads there. Let's see if I can get us more in focus. So there should be another one of those silver dots right underneath this one here, and it is no longer. Here's what we can do. Let me grab my empty board. Oh, actually, no. Hold on, I've already got an infographic on working around this. So basically, if you lose any of these pads here and or you find yourself having too hard of a time replacing this tiny little capacitor, you can instead run a trace wire from this leg of the step down to a bigger capacitor, and then the other side of that capacitor gets a trace wire to the big pad on our diode. So, let me see here. I'm pretty sure I've got one I've already done this on, so I can reference. Maybe not. Okay, well, so I've got, I believe this is a 0.1 microfarad capacitor. We'll double check it. I've also got what you would normally replace it with right here, but you can see how small it is, and a lot of people have problems with that. We can't even, well, I guess maybe we could run the trace wire from the little guy there, but I don't think I have any trace wire quite small enough to deal with something that small. So I'm going to show you guys how we work around this. Let me make sure my bigger capacitor here is of the same capacitance at least. Jumpy little guy. So we've got just under 100 nanofarads, which in other words is 0.1 microfarads, which is the spec that we're looking for. So here's what we will do. Where's my enamel wire? We're gonna get some of our enamel wire here. This stuff is coated in a non-conductive material that you can melt away with a soldering iron. So the idea with this is you can run it around the board, do what you need to do without it, without worrying about it touching other components and causing issues. It's not conductive unless you solder to it. So we're gonna run the wire from there. Let's start with that. I'm going to go ahead and put a little extra solder on there so it sticks better. And then we'll get our trace wire ready here. There we go. And let's see if we can't get that stuck on there. Nope, a little too much there. Let's clean that up. Being a bit of a nugget right now, aren't you? Where's my solder wick? There we go. Yeah, that's what I figured. Let's try this again. Where the heck is my wick? Here it is. Alright, no casualties here. Let's try this again. This time I'm gonna try to loop this around Beautiful. And we can wiggle that, it's not going anywhere. That is what I wanted. So now, we'll push this down. We'll go this way. And I'm gonna cut it right there. Then we're gonna get our cap ready. Wow, this straight wire is not taking any solder. Yep, scoot on in there, little guy. Ah! Let's get you where I want you. Very good. Let's clean that blob. Okay. And then, as you can see, we've got the other end of the cap touching the big pad of our diode. You could run a trace wire to that pad, but we got lucky enough here that that looks like it's gonna play nice with us here. And we're being careful that it doesn't touch that leg down here. Let me make sure that it is in fact not. Alright, there we go. I gave it a bit of an angle, so it's definitely not touching the pin underneath here. Let's get a replacement diode on here. It's going to be a tight fit, but we can make it work. Hopefully there isn't any other damage that was done to this board that we haven't noticed yet. We'll give it a quick look over before we try turning it on. I need a new hot air gun. Very nice. Alright. Hopefully this doesn't undo our other work. Oh, freaking beautiful. It even flowed that cap on there with it. The question is it touching that component underneath now? And it looks like it is. Yeah. Dang it. Let's get that back off, and we'll try a different thing here. Alright. Put tape over it. The tape, unfortunately, wouldn't survive the heat. We'll get it. This is the way. Hey, look at that, we got it. I'm gonna put a little more on there. Yes. Is anything going anywhere? Nope. And we've got a clear path underneath there, so it's not touching anything it shouldn't. I think that is fine and dandy. And since it's pretty well mounted to the surface there, and it's very well out of the way too. Perfect clearance, if you ask me. There, that's a nice angle. Okay. Let's make sure there isn't anything else wrong on here. You never know when someone else has worked on something what might have gone awry without even being noticed. Especially around these holes for the screws. Sometimes the screwdriver slips and you break stuff off. But it looks like they did good. Let's check the other side. Excuse me. I am so sorry for that. That came out of nowhere. This looks good. We're going to replace these filters here since they go bad and cause death farts before we send it back to them. But everything else looks good enough for me to test this out. Let's get ourselves a logic board and a display with a spare ribbon cable that I've harvested from a HomePod. We got a power supply, we got a cable for the power supply so we can plug it into the wall. Let's get all this plugged in. I always expect that to happen. And we will hook up our subwoofer. We're ready to test this out. We've got power. Very good. I can hear the bass speaker going. You guys probably can't. But I can hear good sound. I'll go ahead and hold one of these on there for you folks, for you fine viewers at home, so you can hear Siri's wonderful voice.
Connecting to the internet. For more info, check the home app.
There you go. That is a fully functioning amplifier once again. Okay, before we send that back, let's go ahead and knock out that promised maintenance. We don't want to do all this work just to fix the power issue and then have it come back to us for something preventable like death farts and all sorts of bass issues. Back up close, we're looking at our favorite fart filters. Let's get those swapped out for some good new ones. If y'all thought that was an intense workaround, that is nothing. That is a workaround I'm happy to do all day. ripped pads and traces off of LG monitor mainboards input ports that I will not do. That is intense. And then like some people, oh, there's somebody in my Discord server, I think it's Avnish. People tear these ribbon cables all the time, and believe it or not, you can fix that. And that is mind-boggling. Personally, that's just crazy. I mean, when you need it, when you don't have any other options, that's great. It's an excellent skill to have. Especially with proprietary cables and connectors like this, where you can't get replacements. You just got to pull it from another parts pod, essentially. Alright, the reason why we are replacing these filters, even though they're working fine now, is because they are ceramic capacitors, like many of the caps on this board. But unlike most of the other capacitors on this board, their job is to filter DC voltage from the audio signal as it passes through the amp, gets amplified, and sent to the bass speaker. These ceramic capacitors naturally decay over time. They all do. And they lose their effectiveness at filtering DC voltage. So for this particular area, that's critical. You can't have it. It can tolerate it in other parts of the board for other tasks at hand, but for filtering DC offset from the audio signal, you kind of need it to do that job. Alright, we got those on there pretty freaking well. That is ready to get tested and sent back. Let's move on to the next repair then. We've got Tosh with no power. I'll go ahead and send them a link to watch now. All right. They have been messaged. Let's get their name up on the screen. Toash. Alright, so does my unbox cam still work? No. There it is. Alright. Let's get this opened up. Apologies for the absolute state of my space right here now. Easy peasy. the thingy. There it is. Here's the spinny thingy. Here's the dead thingy. And here's the power thingy. We've got no lights, no power, no nothing up there. We've got a couple of pixies from the power port. So that tells me it is the usual dead diode, the same part that you saw us, that black chip that you saw us replacing on Chris's amplifier board after we got that workaround. The most common failure we see here still. And while we've got this apart, we'll do the same maintenance with some replacement filters to keep that base nice and healthy. Oh, I haven't had the adhesive come off so cleanly and stick to the display like that before. Very nice. A little bit of rubbing alcohol to help break up the glue that holds the speaker basket down. Oh, I totally spaced out on the chat there. Welcome, folks. Meatman, Alex, David, welcome, welcome. Yeah, that amplifier board had the customer had taken apart their own HomePod and tried to replace the infamous Schottky diode for no power. And they had misplaced the tiny little 0402 size capacitor to the left of it. And unfortunately, they actually ripped one of the pads for that little capacitor off. I actually have a known issue on my website called Missing Parts, because it happens so much, people lose that little cap. And then they email me about it. Hey, what's this cap? I lost a pad. How do I work around it? Can I turn it on without it? You absolutely need that little guy. And I've got a little infographic handy on if you've lost one of those pads, how you can put a bigger capacitor in its place and run trace wires to the necessary components. So that's exactly what we did. Not the usual repair you see here. Normally people just send in the whole HomePod, or they send in the amplifier board for the diode replacement. They take it apart, but they don't bother trying to replace the diode. And I don't blame people either. We make it look easy, but we've done it thousands of times. So of course we'll make it look easy. Sometimes it can be hard to realize what's more difficult for people when you've done it so much and it's just kind of second nature to you, you know? A good example would be like driving a manual or a stick shift car. I don't even think about shifting, it's just second nature to me, but sticking my wife in the driver's seat, it's effort for her because, you know, she drives an automatic every day. But with enough practice, it can get that way. But sometimes you don't think of those first few things that were difficult for you. You just think of the steps that you take. Let's get those filters replaced, and then we'll move on to that dead diode actually causing power issues. The settling sounds of, or rather unsettling sounds of my monitor warming up and the plastic housing crackling. It seems to always do it at the same time during my stream when I'm doing the delicate work like this. Okay. That is some fancy work there. Let's get the dead diode replaced. Oh boy, this is why I don't usually do early morning, or noontime repairs. That's usually why I like to wait until afternoon, evening time to fix stuff, is gives time for all the coffee I drank to get in and out of my system. My hands are usually quite unsteady with a bunch of coffee and not a bunch of food in me yet. But I don't like breakfast, and I tend to be too busy for lunch, and I don't think about eating till dinner. Classic. liquid on the board is called flux. It doesn't help take things off. What it does is it reacts with the oxidation that immediately builds up on solder pads and solder and copper, and the oxidation will prevent an actual solder bond from occurring. Instead, with a corrosion between your solder, what you get is a physical connection, like a handshake like that, and it can just easily break back apart. What you want is to create a true alloy bond. You're creating a new metal in between the components, so it's more like this. Without flux, you do yourself a disservice, and you'll find yourself having a much harder time soldering things together and keeping them together. It's the secret sauce. The solder must flow, and for it to flow, you must use flux. And don't count on the flux that is built into your solder. Get a dedicated tube or jar of flux. And try to get the no-clean stuff like we use, because then you don't have to worry about getting it all off the board. Flux normally corrodes, ironically. It will, if you leave it behind, it'll cause problems. Unless you use the good stuff, that no clean. Tayo, what is up? Welcome, welcome. Welcome back. Get that ribbon cable locked in. We can drop our power supply. Funny how the failure that causes no power is not on the power supply, huh? But the logic board and display get their power through the amplifier board. They don't connect directly to the power supply. So that's why you see these failures on the amplifier board, causing it to not turn on at all and light up, or light up at all either. Because the amp is knocked so out of it that it can't, the flow of power doesn't make it all the way through to the rest of the components down the chain. stick that ribbon cable back to the basket so it's not rattling around the subwoofer. For homepods that identify as white or black, is that set in firmware, or is the hardware jumper that tells the software what color it is? That is a good question. I don't know for sure. What I do know is it's the same file and the same restore process for both homepods, and as soon as they boot up, they show the correct color. So it's either got to be looking at the model number that's hard-coded somewhere, or like you said, a jumper or resistor. I have a feeling it would be more like a programmed model number, but I'm not sure. That would be really sweet if it was just a jumper or resistor or something like that, because then we could obviously easily switch that and then suit the needs of whatever supply we need at the time. There we go. Let's pull the next fellow up and send them a message.
I'm having trouble connecting. I'm having trouble.
Very good, very good. Alright. And they want it reset and updated. So we'll do that. Let's move on to Dylan. Let's get their name up on the screen. They've also got no power. Let's get that opened up. Yeah, I purposely use a bad quality camera for this because I don't want you suckers zooming into people's shipping labels and bothering folks. Not that I think any of you guys have a problem, but I can't control who comes across the stream and does what with people's info, so I like to just avoid it. Here it is. Dylan with no power. Do not enhance. You shall not. No lights, no power, no nothing. The usual power draw of 4, you guessed it. A dead diode. Let's get this apart and get it fixed. What is up, Derek? Welcome, welcome. Do we know how the iPhone 6 identifies its color? Because I imagine it would be very similar, if not exactly the same, as the HomePod in that case. A little ahead of myself there. I think that's all it needs. Very nice. That alcohol works wonders. Oh wow, sounds like another transformer blew up. It's like a bi-weekly occurrence here. I'm always hearing transformers blowing up. Lots of trees and stuff. It might not even be the transformer blowing. It might be trying to do the surge to blow up whatever branch is causing problems. Well, here we are again. Here's a bit of an enhancement for you. Instead of the old foam subwoofer gasket, we chuck those and replace them with a new solid rubber one. Nothing wrong with the foam one, and generally they last quite some time. But this will give it just a slightly tighter, more sealed bass response. And it'll outlast the foam. Do I sell them? Well, you guys asked me to sell them so much that I changed my mind and I did start selling refurbished first gens again. You can head to my website, nixfix.com/shop, of course. I've also got a link on the top of my main site. And I've got options there. Options and details. You still email me to order. I'm lame that way. I don't have anything fancy set up like a checkout or ordering system. That's all done by me. Oh, do I sell the seal? Ah, gosh, I will. If you're interested in buying replacement seals, I've got the specs. If you want to try to find a cheaper source online yourself, and you can also just shoot me a message until I can throw those up on my shop site. But yeah, I'll sell you whatever parts you see us use here. I do generally recommend, if you're going to be doing it for your own HomePods, if you've got a couple of HomePods to do it on, maybe order them in bulk like I do. And it's surprisingly cheap too. It was only 20 or 30 bucks for 50 of them, and then another 8 bucks for shipping. But some places have like a minimum order quantity, and not everybody has a use for 50 of them. So totally understandable. And in many cases, people just want to get 1 or 2, and they'll pay for it. Yes, sir, 500 HomePods. I'm trying. We went backwards a little bit because I had to yank a few logic boards and subwoofers and amplifiers and what have you, but oh, and a couple people bought some refurbs, but I try to price them such that I don't lose money on them, and I can at least replace it with 2 more. If I sell one, then I've got the money to buy 2 more broken ones. Then I can at least fix one and replace the one that I sold back to my personal collection. You are buying my personal HomePods. Tested working by yours truly, Fix. Hey, Tayo knows what we're talking about. Funny you mention it, I actually got my hands on some more rubbers recently too. What I'm going to be trying to do with these is replacing the little gaskets on the screws for the subwoofer. These generally last a very long time, and they can go through quite a bit of failure before actually causing problems. And especially if you've got a good subwoofer gasket, all the screw really needs to do is keep things from rattling around, and it doesn't matter how bad it gets. But that said, I have wanted to find a replacement for these for people that either lose them or maybe want them replaced in their HomePod, and I think I have figured it out. You have to use 2 different sizes. You have to use the 3x3 for the bottom, and you have to use the 2.5x3 for the top, because if you use the bigger one on the top, the screw's just going to fall through the gasket. And you need the bigger one on the bottom because you need the extra thickness to compensate for the subwoofer gasket. If the bottom O-ring on this is too thin, or it's not thick enough, then it's just going to bounce around. So I've been looking into those. I love playing with my rubbers. We got Dylan all fixed up. Let's get Edwards opened up. And let's shoot a message to the next fellow up so they can have plenty of time to hop in if they want to watch. Let's see, we've got Andrew afterwards. Let me find their... Here they are.
I'm having trouble connect. I'm having trouble.
Aren't we all? All right. Oh, big box from Edward. If I didn't know better, I'd say there were 2 in there, but I know better, so I know there aren't. Let's see, let's get their name up on the screen. Let's let you guys watch. And where is it? This label right here. This one doesn't matter. I don't care if you guys can see the numbers on this one, because that's just my UPS mailbox number. That's public info. Get wrecked. What, you think you're gonna dox me? I doxed myself. I run a business. Oh, hey. Yes. Okay. So there are 2 HomePods in here. One does not power up, one plays muffled sounds. Let's try to find the one... Oh, they even indicated which one's which. Edward's being too kind to us. Okay. We've got the first one here. Let's get me out of the way. And let's see what this does. I'll go ahead and put that on the bottom just in case they cared to differentiate between the two themselves. We got no lights, no power, no nothing. We got a couple of watts from the wall. Y'all have seen it here plenty of times. Let's dig in. What I'm doing here is just cleaning any of the adhesive off the volume buttons, because when we go to stick it back on, if there's anything covering them, they won't light up nice and evenly. Get into that flow state. Get into that 18-minute per pod repair state. Ooh, dusty. I'm gonna be very sad the day that I have to replace this Lazy Susan. I've gotten so accustomed to its exact resistance, its balance, its size, its wooden bearings. It's perfect, but it won't last forever. I only paid $5 for it at Target. I should have bought more of them. Ooh, I just came up with a wonderful Christmas present for you folks. Last time I did a giveaway, it was for a custom red colored Apple HomePod. And I don't know if I can do another one of those quite yet, but what I can do for you fine folks is give away a couple of my HomePod USB docks. That's what I'll do. I gotta come up with a good way to do a giveaway on that, because last time it was a bit of a cluster. It was all fair, but it was still a bit of a nightmare. Giveaways are just nightmares to do. But it's also really fun to do some simple, easy things to make some people happy. What do you guys think? You think people would care about a giveaway for some of these? I'll do 3 of them. I'll do the white one, I'll do a black one, and then I'll do a mystery color. And then, like, what's the best way to run a giveaway these days? Last time I did one, it was by leave a comment and subscribe. And you can't actually tell who subscribes to you unless they have the option set to public in their account to see that they're subscribed to you. So like a comment, leave a comment and subscribe isn't the best way to have entries for a giveaway. I guess I could do like that's what I should do. I should do a Google form, and it'll just be a quick and easy like little survey. I'll make you work for it. You'll have to fill out a survey that tells me just a little bit about your experience with HomePods. Do you have one? How many do you have? Have you ever had any issues? What kind of Wi-Fi you've got? And then finally, if you're picked as the winner, which color dock would you like? The black one, the white one, or the mystery color? Oh yeah, there's always legal requirements for giveaways. Always, always. They are generally pretty easy to follow. And thankfully the stakes here are not that high. We're not talking about giving away a car or $1 million or any kind of large taxable asset. We're talking about giving away a couple of 3D printed sub $20 devices that I made myself. But you are correct. There are laws and regulations you must follow. Obviously, I can't, I don't think I can involve people under the age of 18, right? And that's just, that's just America. Don't get me started about trying to follow the rules for globally. I'm still gonna play that game, I still want to give everyone a fair shot. I'm also not a lawyer, so don't take my opinion as advice even. Take it for a grain of salt. Alright, we got those fart filters replaced. The bass speaker in this one should stay nice and healthy for a long time coming. And that should prevent issues that are occurring, like with Edward's second HomePod that we'll look at here in a few. Alright. Died in the blood of your enemies. No, the next HomePod giveaway that I want to do, I want to make an absolutely obnoxious and cursed color combination. I'm talking like something like a freaking McDonald's or Taco Bell themed HomePod. Something dumb like that. Give me ideas. Feel free. Inspire me. I don't really have any enemies though, so I can't really bathe any HomePods in their blood if I don't have any enemies. I screwed the string under the subwoofer. Oh no. There we go. Easy peasy. Oh, and if you're curious why I do this, I'm not just having fun, although it is very fun. Channeling my inner child. But it's to listen to make sure that everything is sealed. Because up to the subwoofer, that's how everything is sealed together. From the subwoofer up, doesn't matter. Nothing is sealed from there up. And if it's not sealed right, I can hear a little bit of a whistling sound or just a bit of air rushing through wherever it's leaking through. Of course, I test and make sure that it's fully sealed when I get it back together, turned on, and reset and added to my test home if that's the option that they chose. But for people that choose to not have their HomePod reset and updated, I don't have a choice. I can't reset it and add it to my home. But I do have my USB docks, so I can still connect one of my USB docks to their HomePod without resetting it and play music through it without a problem. Unless, of course, they have it set as the default output on their Apple TV, and then for whatever reason it won't. It doesn't work. Strange caveats to the USB AirPlay functionality. But ultimately it wasn't put there for people like you and I to use. It was put there for the factory to test. Is there space for additional sensors? Oh yeah. There's all sorts of room in there. Integrating that with the rest of this stuff would be much trickier. Unless you had something completely standalone that communicated with something externally to get you your info. That would be a tough ask to get some kind of sensor data into the HomePod natively and then through HomeKit. I'm imagining some kind of ESP module you stick inside with some sensors that takes power from the HomePod, but then relays the info to some device outside of the HomePod, as opposed to trying to add the sensor and wire it in directly to the HomePod and tweak the software to make that work. Good luck with that. Ooh, that's some wind. You were thinking standalone ESP too? Oh, perfect. Yep. There's room galore inside. And part of the reason for that is you need room, you need cavity inside for the sound, for the bass inside to reverberate and help with the acoustics. If it was just a solid, dense object on the inside, it wouldn't sound nearly as good. It would sound quite shallow and empty. The debug port on the bottom does not provide power out, unfortunately. Purely an input. Yeah, you just got the USB and UART, but one-way USB. All right, I'm gonna let that boot up. I need to grab a quick snack, so keep an eye on this for me, would you, folks? All right. The breakfast of champions. Oh geez, it's already 1 o'clock. You're taking your sweet time turning on, aren't you? Concerning. I'm gonna give it time to let me finish this other Oreo cookie and I'll consider something wrong. I will have patience. I will endure. I will not unplug it. I'm gonna unplug it. We're gonna take another look at this one after we fix Edward's other HomePod. This one sounds bad. Oh, looks like they got some marker on there. I can clean that off, no problem. Nothing a little isopropyl alcohol can't make quick work of. Let's see what this one sounds like. What we'll do with Edward's other HomePod there that we fixed the power issue on, but now it doesn't seem to boot up. It just sits there trying forever. We will attempt a USB restore with one of our docks after Andrew's HomePod there. So we've still got Edward's bad bass pod, we've got Andrew's no power HomePod, and we'll try to restore Edward's HomePod after that.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Huh? Well, this one sounds just fine. Plays muffled sounds. Sounds like it's underwater. I'm gonna give it one more test here. Which colors hold up better over time in my opinion? That is a good question. Enemy blood red. Just my opinion. Wow. I think it's tough to say. They both don't stay the same color for very long. If you can keep it clean, the white one ages better. If you can't keep it clean, the black one ages better. That's my opinion.
I'm having trouble connecting to.
Well, let's go ahead and take this apart and see if there's anything obviously wrong on the inside. If not, then we will do the usual maintenance that takes care of most of these problems people send them in for. And we'll let it test and see if that fixes it or if the issue still persists. Ooh, sticky. Subwoofer feels fine. Alright, how's the subwoofer looking? Fine and dandy, if you ask me. The plot thickens. I see nothing wrong. I'm gonna plug in my test woofer here, and we're gonna get an offset reading to see if those filters are just going bad or not. Alright, so I've got a test woofer over here, plugged into the amplifier. That subwoofer has some leads coming off of it, so I can hook up our... So I can hook up our multimeter. we'll get those connected. No great angle for this. There you go. So you can see when we stab the subwoofer, the reading fluctuates. When neutral and nothing turned on, we've got 0 millivolts. What happens when those filters go bad and you've got DC offset that's roasting the subwoofer speaker and letting that DC voltage through. Instead of the subwoofer being in its neutral middle ground, it forces it in and holds it there, or out and holds it there. And that takes work. It takes effort. So the amp cooks, the subwoofer cooks because it's not moving around to cool itself, and you have a meltdown. Let's see if the filters on this one are starting to go bad. And the number that we're looking on the screen here is less than 50 millivolts is the ideal target. Less than 35 millivolts is really what you want, but 50 is the generally acceptable number. A very small amount of DC voltage, but still very important. And it's excellent.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
No problems here. It looks fine. It sounds fine. Interesting. Let me reread their note. They originally reached out with one no power repair. One does not power up. One plays muffled sounds. Sounds like it's underwater. And after sitting here, we've only grown to 2 millivolts. So if that was a problem, I would have expected to see that have grown a lot more by now. Is there a quantitative test for the woofer itself? Not really. Unfortunately, you can look at the condition of the voice coil. It should be a nice copper color, and it shouldn't smell bad. That's basically it. You should be able to measure the resistance. It's a 4 ohm subwoofer. If it's like 0.1 ohms away from that, it's either your crappy multimeter or the subwoofer's coil is starting to give up, but that's not a very reliable way of testing them. So, I'm at a bit of a loss for this one. I guess what we will do, because I don't want to just replace a bunch of stuff and then have to take it back apart because we didn't fix the actual problem. We are going to put these to the side. And we're going to let them test. I'm not going to do anything to them yet, but I'm going to get it set up on my home, play some music to it, see if I can't reproduce the issue that they're talking about here. I'm hoping they didn't maybe send us one of the wrong homepods. Look at that little guy. He's just hanging out. Alright, I've got that on the test bench. Let's take a look now at Andrew's. Andrew's got a bricked HomePod. After we try to fix Andrew's, then we'll go back to Edward's first HomePod and see if it comes back to life or not. Let's get this opened up. Alright. Here's the pod. We've got the blinkies, yeah? Let's go ahead and confirm that. Let me make sure I shot Andrew a message. I think I did. Yes, okay. Alright, Edward's HomePod still sounds okay. I'm gonna try one of my USB docks on it after Andrew's here and see if we can AirPlay music to it over USB without having to reset it. Alright, we've got the blinkies. Let's cover that top up so we don't scratch it up when we stick it on the table upside down. There we go. Make sure that's lined up. Alright, that is firmly in there. Let's get the mark. And we will get a new terminal window. We will get the screen share going so you guys can see what I'm doing. My IP must have changed again. I'm on .58 now. There. Don't look at my password. Close your eyes. Okay. Let's see what it gives us. Give me Gaster Pwn, Gaster Reset, and iDevice Restore. Oh. 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 It's working. It's working. It's working. It's working. Andrew got lucky. Let's see, did Andrew opt for maintenance? Yes, they did. Okay, so once this finishes restoring via USB, we will tear it down and replace the other components that often fail and cause no power or death farts. Let's go ahead and reset Edward's HomePod over here. Add it to our test home and see if we can't reproduce his underwater sounding issue while we're waiting for this to restore. Do a little bit of, do a little bit of multitasking here. Oh, I let go at the wrong time. Right when it was too late. Too early.
Your HomePod is about to reset. Keep pressing until you hear 3 beeps.
Sounds great. That sounds quite fantastic. I guess while we're waiting for that one to USB restore and this one to factory restore, let's grab Edward's other HomePod that had no power but suddenly started not booting up all the way. We'll pop that down right here. We're triple tasking today. Let me grab another power cable. That one's too short.
I'm having trouble connecting.
That one's too short too. That one should work. I believe in you. Reach. Alright, that one's booting up now. That one is factory reset. Let me go grab my test phone. I kid you not, my main Apple ID tends to brick HomePods if I try to set them up with it. So I have to use a test Apple ID. Yeah, see how that was really quick. I don't know if you guys have ever seen me try to set up a HomePod with my main ID before, but it takes forever just to get that prompt. And more often than not, instead of that prompt, I get a password prompt. And no matter what password I enter, it says unable to connect to server, and then the HomePod bricks itself in boot loops. It's absolutely horrendous. I hate it. But this guy turned on. Let's play something to it. I named it Edward Bass. I think that's a proper name to give it. Let's see, is it going to rename itself? There it is. Edward Bass. What do I play? Oh, I don't have anything on here. I'm not signed into anything. So it's, oh, we're gonna get ads. Yeah, give me a free month trial. Oh, I don't know my password for this account. Whatever, we'll go to YouTube, we'll deal with the ads. I'm gonna turn my microphone down, sorry folks. That sounds fine. Maybe we'll have to let it play for a while. I'll reach out to Edward, see if we can't confirm what the heck is going on with their underwater HomePod here. It seems to be working fine for me, though. His other one here is still attempting to boot up. That's not fun to see. I'm hoping when it died from the power problem, it didn't kill the logic board with it. Rather, what likely happened was it was trying to update the software, and the software updates tend to pull a lot more power, and that is when those crappy diodes tend to pop and cause no power. So if it failed in the middle of a software update, I can totally believe that's where it's at now. Prior to us figuring out how to restore these things, we would have been pretty screwed on Edward's repair here because we wouldn't be able to try the restore and get it working even after we fixed all that hardware. Andrews is all done. Let's get that removed and we'll see if it boots up. All right, and let's go ahead and try to restore Edward's HomePod here now. Yeah, I'm just happy that we have a way to restore these things. I could care less that it bricked itself. And you know, right after fixing its hardware problem, that's still kinda like, I do remember a year or so ago we had someone send their HomePod in just like this for no power. We took it apart, we got it all fixed up, we got it back together again, and it immediately started blinking volume buttons. And at the time we didn't have a way to restore the software on those. So it was either a no fix or pay a little more and I'll replace the logic board too. I hate those, but at least now we can try the USB restore. Forgot to turn my microphone back up. Alright, Andrew's good. Let's get a restore going on Edwards here. And we will do the maintenance on Andrews. Alex, welcome, welcome. All right. Come on. I believe in you. Yes, okay. Edward's HomePod is restoring. I think. Yes! Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's put this to the side so we can make room for Andrew's HomePod. All right. That's going off to the side. Let's get maintenance done on Andrew's HomePod here. What desktop power supply is that? Are you talking about this guy? This is some cheapo garbage. It's nothing fancy. It's Tech Power TP6005E. $60 5-amp max. I don't use it much. haven't really needed to. Why is my phone not unlocking with my face? Okay. Oh, of course my phone's gonna die too. Alright, if you're trying to text me or call me, you're gonna have to wait. My phone is dead. Alright. First up, our fart filters. Man, they got those top two real close together. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Sorry you're a little late. Sorry for letting you know a little without too much notice. I never know when I'm gonna have the time to stream until pretty much right when I'm about to. But I try to give people as much notice as I can now. In any case, if you want, you can go rewind and watch the magic. Or feel free to hang out with us while we wrap up the rest of the queue for the day. Alright, what's the diet? What's the date code on our diode? We've got a 26K there, so it need not be replaced or concerned with. We are all good there. Let's get this back together. It looks like Edward's HomePod that we got powering on again, but failing to boot, took the USB restore. It just finished up. That's great to see. That's just absolutely asinine to me that somebody could, in theory, go through all the trouble of fixing the hardware issue on their HomePod that's keeping it from powering on. They fix it, and then because it failed in the middle of a software update, it no longer boots up anymore. And then Apple says, yeah, too bad, buy a new one. When in reality, here's that boot looping pod from Edward that we fixed. There it goes. There you have it. That would have been a no fix had we not figured out how to do USB restores. Perfectly fixable. I'll take that dock back. You hear that? Something's not sealed. That's why I do it. That's why I check. That's why I give it the old pokey poke. Because I don't want to have to put this all the way back together just to find out. I gotta take it back apart. Something wasn't sealed. What's going on? That's more like it. Hey Toshio. Welcome, welcome. I think I saw your email about that this morning. I'll go ahead and get that fixed up for you, don't worry about it. Happens all the time. I haven't had the chance to even ship anything out today yet, so... we'll get that fixed. All right. Oh, let's just make sure we didn't break nothing. Sounds great. We will want to let that test. All right, looks like we are down to the last two. Let's shoot a message to our last repair here. It's okay. I texted him. Copy that link. Paste the link. Okay. What will our luck have in store for these two? Let's get the Mac back. Let's get this ready. What do we have oriented normally? It's booted. It says it's booted. It's a default sound output for an Apple TV, so I can't connect to it and test it. But it says it's booted. Let me show you guys what I mean on the screen here. Look at that. Booted. Booted. But it's clearly not. I have a good feeling about this one being able to restore. Let's give it a go. We're gonna pwn it. We're gonna reset it. And we're gonna restore it. I guess I can, while we're waiting for this, let's go ahead and fix Toshio's label here. Looks like it's taking the USB restore. Very nice. Alright. It is getting shipped to me at NixFix. It is being shipped from Toshio. In good old California. What did they want? UPS or USPS? They wanted USPS. Let's get that for them. There we go. Oh, my screen share died. Why did my screen share die? Oh, my IP changed again? How could this happen to me? Where's my mouse? Let's fix this. Nope, I'm still .58. Strange, but still working. There you go. We'll let that keep going. How's Edward's underwater HomePod working? What's the weather?
It's currently raining and 50 degrees. Expect cloudy skies starting in the evening. Temperatures are heading down from 49 to 44 degrees this evening.
Sounds fine still. Woo! Almost done. There's something weird about one of these HomePod boxes from Mr. BR here. Let me show you what I mean. Here's the bottom of a normal box. Right? You've got the labels, the regulatory info, you've got specs and everything. Here's the bottom of the other box. There's the top, there's the sides. It's otherwise a normal box, but the bottom is just completely blank. I've as far as I can remember, never seen that. And I've seen a lot of things here. What is the meaning of this? Am I overthinking it? I mean, I haven't seen a ton of HomePod boxes, but I've seen quite a few of them. Obviously, I've seen way more HomePods. Not everybody ships their HomePod in the original box. Not many people even still have the original box. It looks like it looks like a normal HomePod inside and out. What's the meaning of this? I'm gonna go check my other boxes. Yeah, I've got a few dozen boxes, and not a single one of them is like that. They all have something on the bottom of them. Alright, well it looks like this first one took the USB restore. Let's get that flipped around and make sure it's all good to go. They opted for no maintenance. And they opted also if they didn't restore, not to fix it and not to go any farther. So they got lucky with number 1 here. Let's see, and we'll go ahead and get the second one started. Oh, my wife just got home. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go help her bring the kid in, and we will wrap this stream up. Woo. All right. Let's get this attached. get it plugged in. We'll do the pwn. We'll do the reset. We'll do the restore. And we wait. It looks like it's also taking a USB restore. Aren't you lucky? Well, we will see if they stay working after we get them all set back up and test them overnight. For all we know, that they stopped working because of a hardware issue that caused the software to go awry, but we will find out. Usually if they restore, though, they are good to go. You guys want to look at some HomePods for sale while we're waiting? Let me turn my screen share off so I can hide my hide my stuff. I don't want you getting everyone's emails. Alright, show the book box. Let's go to, let's get our restore up there. We'll put eBay over there. Let's look for a HomePod. We're gonna go condition for parts are not working. I like to sort by, so we got 38 results now. What I don't like is when I sort by price lowest first. Why does that go down? How does that make any sense? But if I go newly listed, we get all of them again. Ooh, an orange one for parts, no power. Oh, that's beautiful. That's tempting. So the thing with the minis that have no power, I've taken a look at a few of these, and they're like a 50-50 chance of, well, in any case, all the ones with no power, usually people aren't lying about that. You plug it into a power adapter and it doesn't turn on. You try a different power adapter, it doesn't turn on. And I've bought a bunch of these. I've gotten a few sent in to me to take a look at. And like I was saying, it's about a 50-50 split between there being some kind of hardware issue internally, and between those with hardware issues, it's been a 50-50 split of an easy to find short on the logic board and something that we haven't found. And then the other half of all the no power minis have been restorable just by plugging into a Mac and recovering them, even though they didn't show any lights or anything when you plug them into a normal power brick. It's kind of strange, but you'd be surprised how many people they stop powering on with the power adapter, and they try all these different power adapters, but they never try to plug it into their computer and see what happens then. And to my surprise, about half of these plug in and recover just fine. The other half, it's up in the air whether it's a short you can find inside or not. And I generally don't take the minis on for repairs. But let's see what else we got here. This one, unit is being sold. We are unable to factory reset it. It has only been tested that it powers on. So the photo shows the volume buttons lit up. I don't know if that was a photo taken with it blinking volume buttons, and that's the issue, and they only took a photo while it was, they took a photo while they were in the blinking part. Or those are just lit up from when they tapped it to try to play something, and it shows the volume buttons before it eventually says that it couldn't connect to Wi-Fi. So, with these ones, you don't know if they just don't know how to reset it or if it's actually got an issue. But it would be totally worth throwing a couple bucks at that bid to see if you could get it for, 60 to 80 bucks or less. That's how much I want. I don't want to pay more than that for a broken HomePod. Here's one with flashing volume lights. I'm always a little leery on ones with flashing volume lights because you don't know if the person has already gotten an adapter and tried to restore it or not, unless they're being honest. So, they don't even say, they just say it's flashing volume lights. And there's no way to tell from the photos usually if somebody has tried to restore one of these or not. And so for all we know, they tried to restore it, and it ended up being a hardware issue that won't let it restore, so that's why they're selling it. And chances are, as time goes on and as the information on how to restore these via USB like we're doing here proliferates, more and more of these ones with flashing volume buttons that are getting sold are likely going to be ones that have already attempted to get the restore and been deemed hardware failures. What else do we have here? This one for 90. Plugged in but does not turn on. That's a slam dunk repair right there. That's the classic no power issue. It's a little rich for my budget, what I want to pay for them, but here we've got one in Canada. You Canadians out there, keep an eye out. That's not a bad price. That is not terrible considering the current market. Received in a lot, no power. The only thing you gotta be careful of when people say no power, sometimes people are kind of dumb, and their idea or their definition of no power is that it just doesn't work. My definition of no power is very literal. You plug it into power, and if you tap it or touch it or try to do anything with it, nothing happens. That, to me, is what no power means. But I have bought plenty of parts pods off people on eBay where they describe them as no power. And I plug them in, and they turn right on to, blinking volume buttons, of course. A year or two ago, that was a much bigger deal than these days where we've got fixes for those issues. But speaking of which, it looks like this second one here has just finished. Yes. Beautiful. We'll let that initiate, and that is everything. We are all caught up. Goodness, no, I don't think we've heard back from Edward yet, so we will try to figure out why his sounds like it's underwater for him but not for us. I suspect it might be a Wi-Fi issue for him, honestly. But if you guys enjoyed this live stream repair, if you really liked if you like me pulling up eBay listings and giving feedback on broken pods to buy and things to look out for, leave a like and subscribe. Let me know that you guys like that kind of stuff, and I'll definitely do more of it. Maybe we'll do like a dedicated like buyer's guide to broken homepods, so people know what to look out for, and hopefully other people know how to properly sell these things, because I hate charging people full. There you go. I hate charging people a full repair price for something that they bought from somebody else with the expectation that it was a perfectly working product, and they were either scammed or just simply didn't even catch the problem that they were selling. So hope you all enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one. Goodbye.